Hey guys, Games for Life here, and in today's episode we're gonna build a stellar object farm. What you're seeing right here behind me is the cubic object farm we built in the last episode. I'm gonna show you exactly how it works, how you can build one, and then how you can adapt it for a stellar object farm. Then we're gonna craft about 60 stellar objects in order to complete the next tier. And this is putting carbon on me, thanks. Once we have all the respective materials for tier 2, 3 and 4, then I'm gonna make a separate video where I actually complete each and every one of them, while also showing you guys the rewards. You can find all of these videos, including the video I built this farm in, by saving the Project Cheer Delivery playlist. It should appear on screen right now, so save it and watch it later. Now let me show you the basics of this farm. So this was made for cubic objects, for which we need scrap and carbon. So naturally there are two sides to this farm. The first side produces scrap. So we've got the soil centrifuge, which turns soil into resin. Then we've got a small printer which turns resin into small canisters. This auto arm grabs them and feeds them into the extra large shredder, which turns them into scrap. That scrap then gets grabbed by this other auto arm and fed right into here. So we've got the scrap out of the way. Now for the carbon. We've got another soil centrifuge over here which creates organic. So it turns soil into organic, then the organic gets fed into this smelter which turns it into carbon. And then this auto arm just grabs it, puts it over here. So that's how we have our scrap, our carbon, and then this small printer creates the cubic object. Now we need to adapt this farm in order to craft stellar objects. So let's see, for a stellar object we need glass and scrap, which means one side of the farm will remain the same. The scrap side, we don't need to change that. All we need to change is the glass. So we need to adapt this side to create glass instead of carbon. And that's pretty easy. For once, let's get all this carbon out of here. And we should also take this organic out of the selector slot of this auto arm. Smelt it. Oops. Yes, see, that's what happens when you don't have anything in the selector slot. Oh, stop. I'm just gonna turn it off. Okay, so we've got some extra carbon over here, we'll just leave it on the ground there. And another one. We need another medium storage right over here. And now let's make this soil centrifuge create quartz, so then we can smelt it into glass. So you can see quartz is actually harder to create than organic. So for 2 soil canisters you can get 8 organic, but for the same amount of soil we only get 4 quartz. So this is gonna produce quartz at half the rate it produced organic before. That's not a problem, it just means we're gonna need some more soil. And we've got tons of it right over here. I collected this soil right before filming this video. So let's get 1 soil canister, put it over here. You can see it auto feeds into it, so now all we have to do is put this on repeat and then we'll turn it on. On the other side, everything is ready to go. We've got the resin on repeat. Every part of this farm is still functional, we don't need to change this side. So I'll just add another soil canister right here. It will auto feed into this and production starts going, which means we should actually do this on the other side too. So let's start producing some quartz. You can see both of the soil centrifuges working. This one produces resin and this one produces quartz. I'll only turn on this auto arm after I place 1 quartz in its selector slot, so it doesn't grab anything else like the soil canister, for example. They're almost ready, and there we go, the resin is done. Now the small printer crafts it into canisters, and the auto arm grabs them and feeds them into the shredder. The quartz is also done, so let's put one in the selector slot and then we can turn this auto arm on. You can see it grabs them, puts them into the smelter, which turns them into glass. Then we also need to turn this off and move the carbon out of here. Now I'll put 1 glass into each selector slot and then we can turn it back on. Finally, let's put this on loop and turn it on so it creates stellar objects. We've got scrap coming in, the glass is coming in right now, so this is the first stellar object our farm is producing. Great. We're gonna need tons of these, exactly 60 I think, in order to complete the 3rd tier, because the 2nd tier will complete with the cubic objects from last time. I'll just place them over here, don't worry about it. If I don't come and collect them right away, they'll just stack up on this side like some sort of a wall of floating packages. But it's okay, from last video I saw that they are not really bugging through the ground, which is great. I'm glad the developers fixed that, because they used to always bug to the ground and you could only find them in some cave underneath your base, which, as you can guess, was not very good. But now that's fixed, so it's okay. So the farm is working great. And you might have seen in the last video the organic production was kind of backed up by the smelter like a bottleneck, because organic is produced very easily. Now with the quartz, which is produced at half the rate, it's pretty similar to the scrap production speed. So we are not actually getting bottlenecked over here, at least for right now. Even so, I think glass is produced slightly faster than scrap, but that's not an issue at all. That's great, everything is working smoothly. As soon as these soil canisters empty up, I'm gonna change them with these two ones, and then I'm gonna take the rover and feed some more soil into these ones when they are done. So the farm can keep going, it never has to actually stop, which makes the production of these items extremely easy. It will take a while though, so I'll show you guys when we've got the 60 stellar objects. And remember, if you want to see me build this farm and explain it in detail, then you can check out the playlist I mentioned before. So yeah, I'll go do some other stuff, and by the time this is done, I'll show you the results. Okay, so I'll see you in a couple seconds. So here we go. This soil centrifuge used 2 medium soil canisters, and this one used 2 3/4, almost 3. But I stopped it before the other one, because we've got all the materials we need. So we have actually 64 stellar objects, which means we've got all the points we need for the 3rd tier too. Now I'll take these to the other side and store them next to the EXO request platform. So here we go. We've got 8 for the 1st tier, which we've already completed, so these are just extras. Then we've got 64 cubic objects for the 2nd tier, and here we have 64 stellar objects for the 3rd tier. In the next video, we'll build a cosmic bauble farm in order to complete the 4th and last tier. And the cosmic bauble requires scrap and astronium, so that's gonna be pretty interesting. You can imagine the scrap side of the farm will remain the same, and all we have to do for the other side is just place a platform with some astronium on it. So that's gonna be a pretty easy farm to make, and we're gonna do it in the next video. Remember, all of these videos will be in the Project Cheer Delivery playlist, so make sure to save it and watch it. That's all for today. I've been Games for Life, and I'll see you next time. Cheers, Astroneers!